Tonight, at some point after midnight, you're going to wake up. Maybe you already know the feeling, that specific, heavy stillness. The room is dark. You can't see the door. You can't see the corner. And for a moment, just a moment, something in you goes very, very alert. You'll tell yourself it's nothing. You'll probably be right. That's a system that's been running in your body for 300,000 years, and it has a very specific reason for existing. The fear of darkness is not fear of darkness. It's fear of what might be in the darkness. What you can't see. What might already be looking at you. Your brain doesn't care that you're in a safe house in a city in the 21st century. Your brain is running a much older program, one that was written in a world where the dark was genuinely, reliably, specifically dangerous. Go back 100,000 years. Your ancestors had terrible night vision. Compared to the animals that hunted them, leopards, hyenas, saber-toothed cats, your ancestors were effectively blind in low light. These predators had pupils that dilated to 3 times the size of human pupils. They could see in conditions where your ancestors could see almost nothing. And they hunted at night specifically because of this. The dark was not neutral. The dark was a killing field that tilted completely in favor of everything that wanted to eat you. Your ancestors who felt anxious when the light faded, who stayed near the fire, who didn't wander, who woke at sounds in the night, those ancestors survived. The ones who didn't feel that anxiety, the ones who slept soundly in the open dark, are not your ancestors. You are descended from the ones who were afraid. Here is where it gets precise, because this isn't just folk wisdom or evolutionary storytelling. This has been measured. Researchers have placed adults, not children adults, in darkened rooms and measured their cortisol levels and heart rates. People who describe themselves as completely comfortable in the dark. People who would not say they have a fear. Their cortisol rises. Their heart rate increases. The fear doesn't disappear when you become an adult. It goes underground. The conscious mind stops reporting it. The body keeps running it. When your eyes register low light or darkness, the signal travels to the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for threat detection, before it ever reaches the conscious parts of your brain. You don't decide to be on alert in the dark, your body decides, then it tells you. Now think about children. Fear of the dark peaks in children between the ages of 4 and 6, not 2, not 10, 4 to 6. 4 to 6 is the age when children in modern society first begin sleeping alone in their own rooms. For 300,000 years, humans slept in groups. Children slept next to parents, next to siblings, next to the warmth and smell and sound of other bodies. An infant alone in the dark, away from the group, away from any adult who could respond to threat, that infant was prey. The fear system in children between 4 and 6 isn't malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Not a bug.
We tell children the fear is irrational, but the fear is not irrational. The context changed. The fear didn't get the update. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups, the Hadza in Tanzania, the San Bushmen of the Kalahari, have documented something consistent. After dark, behavior changes, voices drop, groups tighten, people move less, laughter becomes quieter.
Is someone coming?
There is a measurable change in the social atmosphere that corresponds directly to the setting of the sun. The same shift that happens in you at 3 a.m. when you're awake and the house is silent and you can hear your own breathing. And here is the part that most people haven't considered. The darkness hasn't changed, the threat inside it has. You are not going to be eaten by a leopard tonight. You almost certainly are not in physical danger from anything in the dark. The fear's original cause is gone. But the fear is running on the same hardware, and that hardware is extraordinarily sensitive. It doesn't need a real threat to activate. It needs uncertainty. It needs the absence of information about what's in the space around you. In the dark, you cannot verify that nothing is there. You cannot see the corners. You cannot rule out the presence of something that wants to harm you. And that inability to rule it out, that gap in information, is all your amygdala needs. This is why you check under the bed. not because you believe something is there. Because you cannot confirm something isn't. The check is your nervous system's attempt to gather the information it needs to stand down. It's the same reason you sleep with a light on, or a door cracked, or the television murmuring in the background. You're giving your brain partial information, enough to keep the alarm from fully activating. You're not afraid of the dark. You're afraid of what you can't see. And that fear, that specific, ancient, calibrated fear, is the reason you're here. It kept your great-great-grandmother alive on a savannah 60,000 years ago. It kept her from wandering away from the fire. It kept her alert to sounds that turned out to be real. It's the most successful fear in human history. And it runs in you every single night. The light you leave on isn't weakness, it's heritage.